weather was bad on the night of 30 October. Night, Sergeant First Class Rios decided to man that southwest tower. They manned it up until midnight. They manned all of them, but then that night it was he just had a bad feeling. And that particular evening, SIGINT suggested that they were going to do something. They went radio silent about 1900, which that was when they had their last meal, and then they suggested to move into position, and then they went into ComSec freeze. So they didn't talk at all. So because of that, because of the conditions, the boys slept with their boots on and occupied that southwest tower. At approximately 1:20, the SOG, which is up here on the tower, that's our SOG right now, he reported, that was Specialist Marino at the time, he reported hearing small arms fire and RPGs on the OP. The southwest tower reported the same thing. And then minutes later, the OP SOG reported taking small arms fire and heavy machine gun fire. At the same time, the SOG and up here reported heavy machine gun fire and small arms from that tower here, which is this wadi here. This is where they initiated their attack, from this wadi here and the OP, almost simultaneously. At that time, all comms with their OP were lost, and the fight that ensued on the OP in the next 20 minutes earned one NCO a Silver Star and one young private Bronze Star with a V device and also a battlefield promotion. That young private, I'll speak those two events real quick. As the OP started taking fire from this ridge, which I showed you guys while we were up there, private on duty who was on the MRAP went to cock the Mark 19, and he was able to fire twice, and then he had to cock it again, and because he couldn't, he figured he had to move and give early warning to that bunker, that middle bunker that was up there, to tell the boys that what was going on. At that point, he had only reported 5 to 10 insurgents. Sergeant Starks, who was in charge of the OP at the time, the NCOIC, came out, and he saw 15 to 20 insurgents at about 200 meters away at that point. We have a rehearsed, planned COP defense and OP attack. So at that point, everybody went to man their positions. However, the only one that made it was that young private, Private James, made it all the way to the A&A position here with the 50 cal. At that point, he started engaging targets, and the enemy grew to 25 to 30 insurgents on the OP, and that's when we lost comms. The 20 minutes that ensued from there consisted of Sergeant Starks running around barefoot, trying to get an ammo resupply, waking the rest of the guys up, positioning them, and then at that point, they took 2 wounded. Morehouse, explain your injuries.
South side of the bunker, we received 2 grenades, which blew up about 10 to 15 meters away from us. I received shrapnel wounds to my neck and both legs.
At that point, the insurgents were very, very advanced, but at that point on the OP, the insurgents took control of the MRAP, got inside, were able to turn it on and turn the lights on, the headlamp on. So what they did is they shot at the turret of the vehicle, and that's when Private James ran out of ammo on the 50 cal and saw 2 insurgents creeping up this OP to a position where another soldier was manning, but he couldn't see the insurgents coming up. So what he did is he ran up there with an AT-4, shot the AT-4, and then threw 2 frag grenades on the insurgents that were coming up on the OP. At that point, Sergeant Starks made the tactical decision to break contact and reposition from the OP into the COP. While that was happening, the northwest tower was reporting heavy machine gun fire and 25 to 30 insurgents coming from there. And at that point, we had all these towers were occupied. They were returning fire, and everybody was confirming insurgents from their side. Simultaneously, from this mortar pit right here, Sergeant Reed, raise your hand up, Sergeant Reed, him and Specialist Keating were shooting over 120 60mm rounds into this wadi here and into the northwest wadi. For that, they earned the Bronze Star with the V device. At the same time, while we regained comms, there was a SIGINT from insurgents that suggested that they had taken the FOB. At that point, we had determined, okay, they took the OP, and that's when Sergeant Starks, they lost comms with Sergeant Starks and CP for about 20 to 25 minutes. He finally came back on and said he was breaking contact. The reason we lost contact was because he had a short whip antenna that he was trying to find for the radio, and he had thrown a couple frag grenades into the ammo bunker up there. So as he was running around repositioning Morehouse and another soldier, that's when they made the decision to break contact. And the same walk that you guys just did right now, they had to do under fire, under 155, danger close on the OP, and then Cass, we had cleared Cass to drop two 500-pound JDAMs on the OP, damaging our bunker. And we'll show you the damages on here in a minute. Sergeant Majors, as you can imagine here, bullets flying both directions and RPGs. An RPG struck this 240 bunker, disabling it and injuring Private Hall, who was inside of there. Private Hall, right here. Injuring Private Hall, the SOG and one of the lieutenants pulled Private Hall out, and that same RPG blast injured Private Walker, standing right here, who was manning the 240 alternate position right here. As those injuries came down, we had to send them down. Lieutenant took over that 240, and another soldier took over the 240 that was here. As the injuries started coming in, Sergeant Starks were still climbing their way down, still receiving 155 in Cass. Air had just turned. As a matter of fact, air never went green that night. So AWT made the conscious decision to say, no, we're going to fly, we're going to help these boys. By that point, we had already established a good relationship with AWT to where they knew the enemy contacts here. They had been to the 5 previous attacks. So AWT flew. One AWT team flew from Salerno, the other one flew from Sharana. And at that point, when they came, checked out in station, they verified. We told them, the initial sit rep, that we have enemy to our north, to our east, to our west, and to our south. Almost like he didn't believe us. The pilot's like, oh, wow, you do. And at that time, he started engaging. The attack started at 0120, and Eagle 8, General Townsend, was visiting us about 1430 that afternoon. AWT was still engaging enemy that was egressing into Pakistan. So 12 hours, well over 12 hours after the attack started, AWT was still engaging. Okay. As the boys from the OP made it inside, that's when we cleared AWT and Cass hot on anything that was moving around here, because we were surrounded. AWT at that point started engaging to the northeast or northwest, to the west, and to the south. To make a tactical decision to commit the QRF, and because everything outside of the COP at that point was not friendly, we didn't want to bring more friendlies in, especially to take that OP, because we didn't want to confuse friendly from foe at that time. So until AWT told us that we had nothing moving, we committed 3rd Platoon out of Fob Boris, which is about 17 clicks to our south. And 3rd Platoon was led by Sergeant Dolan and the QRF squad that came in here. They landed, one bird landed on the OP, the other bird landed on the HLZ, and they regained control of the OP. And we'll show you the BDA pictures here. Okay, the SSE and BDA. At about 6:30, we sent the first BDA patrol out to this first wadi. And that's when we had realized how much damage and how many insurgents were around. It was very impressive. They had the pocket litter and the bodies that we stacked the bodies on the side here. Pockets litter consisted of sketches, timelines, maps, first aid bags. One of the casualties already had a cravat on his leg that they had applied. So they had some medically trained people, weapons, kits. And then that's when we also realized, when we started piecing together the attack, that the enemy that was in this wadi had about 3 or 4 magazines already expended. The enemy over here had about 1, and the enemy that we picked up over here had not expended anything. The ECP at that time was over here. We hadn't the ECP on this side yet. So what we surmised is that they were going to hit us from here, and that they were going to try to breach the ECP with the enemy that was here. And that's why they had full mags, full rack with ammo. Simultaneously, while all this was happening, not just small arms and RPG fire, we took IDF at both Fob Boris and here. And we later determined that the IDF that we took here was Willie P. The enemy had Willie P rounds, and they were trying to suppress our 155 guns down at Fob Boris that was suppressing the enemy here on the OP. So it was a simultaneous complex attack at both FOBs. Some of the other highlights from the SSE was that insurgents had an ambush planned. If you look right over here, that's Spetsgar. The town to the immediate west, which is to your right, is Nakal. We found out later that enemy had insurgents ready to ambush a ground QRF that was going to come from Fob Boris. We also found elevation and wind charts on the enemy. They had a Ranger handbook that, just like our Ranger handbook, everything was detailed in there, except it was Northern Waziristan Agency, which is some of the 3 later agencies have now confirmed that it's right on the other side of these mountains. The locals estimate that there was about 300 insurgents that waged the attack that night, and the Pakistani elders and also the elders here say that the exact total numbers of killed enemy that night were 120. The Pakistani elders later, through IO, waged a very, very negative IO message against the insurgents. They claimed that they came to just take their sons from Pakistan, drug them up, and then come over here and get them massacred. So that was a very, very bad IO campaign. The insurgents, conversely, said in these towns that they had taken the Capt, that they had taken the Fob, that they were flying a Taliban flag here. So we had to get messages right away to counter that. At this point, I'm done with this portion of the brief. I want to show you some of the BDA pictures. And then he fired more than 120 around the OP. Go to the BDA pictures. Yeah, one more. This is all the timeline. Here you can see, here's the OP. You can see all the enemy engagements, AWT engagements, and some of the Zagami, which is the town right over there. Next slide. You can see here, he is most likely, he's the one that had the Ranger handbook of this BDA. This was the day of, we did the storyboard. It says 80 to 100. But this guy here, he's most likely of Uzbek. You can see a map of the OP here that he had with the OP and the COP. And then here you can see his Ranger handbook from Northern Waziristan Agency. Here you can see the ABP bodies to take to the bazaar so that they could have a proper burial. And then here you can see more. Next slide. Here you can see some of the weapons and things we recovered. Some of these had encryptables, some of these radios. And then here you can see some of the syringes, vials. Here you can see the bunker. Destroyed this with the JDAM. And here's the MRAP that we also destroyed.
How many points are made?
Next slide. And then here you can see again the BDA pictures, and these are all on the slide handout. The MRAP, where Private Platt was at. Last thing I want to highlight is that all our casualties, the 5 casualties, are all returned to duty, and they're back in the fight. So at this time, I'll turn this over. Talk to the guys that were on the rooftop, Sergeant Reed, Private, and then Morehouse was up on the OP.
Sir, thanks. Give an opportunity just to talk to them. I think that would be great. So we got about 20 minutes just to talk to soldiers, and get those up. Cool. Was this from what we did? Huh? Good job.
Actually, we had a third.
Lift the one picture over there. Tell these majors what's your equipment?
Yes, I'm ready.
Well,
Sergeant Dolans are doing them as well.
Pretty good, Sergeant Major.
Pretty good. Any rip outs, tears in the pants or anything?
Sure. Not yet, Sergeant Major.
How long you had them? 60 days?
About a month or two, Sergeant Major.
December. Okay. Because I know the ACU would always tear out easy, right? Your pants. Walking around, your butt hanging out. Hell, ain't no Taliban gonna shoot at you with your butt hanging out, your crotch hanging out. They know, hey, shit, we're built. Hey, stop taping me. He ain't leaving this goddamn file. Go ahead. Leave him out here with the rest of these dudes. What would you have wanted if you had a chance that you really liked? An item. I like. A Gerber, a knife. That's glove? Oh, you got that? Correct.
I got the other one, so I'm.
Oh yeah, you know that's what soldiers do.
We just couldn't be prouder of you guys. You know, it's day in and day out, and it's not just you; it's everywhere.
Oh yeah.
You know, from every duty and every corner. Hard work, and our warriors are doing a tremendous job at it. So,
They are.
you know, it's just another opportunity to come say thanks to a bunch that have been out here towing the line. All right, stay safe. Take care of yourself.
First sergeant, sir. Correct.
I've heard that. I've heard that quite a bit. Many people at my
This old Ranger's your platoon sergeant? You know what he did out there, man? He made me empty my goddamn weapon and checked it.
Get you to do me a favor real quick and give me your full name.
Yep, my name is.
I'm trying to sound real quick. Do me a favor and give me your full name, sir?
Yep, my name is Captain David V. Schultz.
And can you spell out your first and last name?
DAVID-SCHULZ.
And can you do me a favor and give me your hometown?
Yep, Los Angeles, California.
And can you give me your rank and unit?
I'm a captain, and I'm the commander of Fox Company, 2506 Infantry Battalion.
And do you know what your job title is?
Yeah, I'm a company commander.
Company. Okay. I guess the first question is going to be, sir, how does it feel to have the sergeant majors come out and just to see what you guys do and meet your boys?
I think having the sergeant majors out here is a great thing, especially for my soldiers, because soldiers don't get to see this. You know, they've been very, very high op tempo. The fact that we're here on the AFPAC border keeps us really busy, whether we're rebuilding our COP during weather days or getting out there after the enemy. We're always busy, so for them to take a break and to see all this brass here, I think it's a great thing for them.
What do you hope to get out of this visit coming in?
Well, I don't really hope to get anything. I think if anything, I hope that we can spread the message of what the good things that soldiers are doing out here and infantry companies out on the AFPAC border. I think we're making a tremendous impact on this war. I think the fact that you know, the numbers speak for themselves. Over 100 enemy killed in one engagement. I think it speaks for itself. I know it's already been highlighted, but I think the fact that we can hold our own against a relentless enemy 3 clicks from the border is a huge thing to highlight to all this brass so that they can take back to Washington and spread our message.
To know that if you could say anything to them.
I think the biggest thing that our families need to know is that we are having a direct impact. Your husbands, your sons are not wasting their time here during this deployment. They are having a direct positive impact. All the cross-border stuff that happens here, the guys that we see here, some of the bad guys in and around that operate around this area, could very well end up on the streets of the United States. So I think we're having a very real-time impact on this war on a global scale, not just here in Bermel. Oh, I mean, personally, anybody with brass that comes here that can hear our story, that can spread it, I think it's a great thing, regardless of rank or position. You know, if they're willing to come here, we're willing to tell them. Quietly go up there at night, dig a little trench, and you know, you start digging in the new water.
They reinforced a little bit.
Okay, hey, so
So-
throwing the goddamn border. He wasn't even throwing. He got out there and said, God damn it.
Oh, you can talk to this one,
Big
Sergeant
man.
Major. He's
You the RTO?
Roger, Sergeant Major.
Okay.
It's not too bad. We got lead trains up in P-TIDs
You know, I
now,
can't get tired of
and
shaking
that
your hand,
helps
but you
out
ain't gonna shake no glove hand,
tremendously. We
goddamn.
walk. It used to be you can go a couple of clicks out from Boris and lost columns, but
Right.
now great. Okay. It's definitely improved. I don't know about out here because I didn't do rotation. I was just recently on leave, so I think it's pretty good.
What would you change? What would you improve on?
The trucker mic, for some reason, wanted a new one. Like, I don't know. I just had a new one the other day, and it broke down.
The charger.
No, just the little trucker mic.
Oh, the mic.
Roger, Sergeant Major. It'll
PFC proof. I don't know, you know. I'm sure it worked fine in the laboratory someplace, but, you know, and that's good feedback, though. Here's another hot tip for you when you guys do leave. Now that somebody's asking you these questions, start taking notes of things that you wish was improved and that didn't work as well as you thought it should. And when you get back, you're going to have a survey that you'll have to take before we'll turn you loose.
Hey, Sergeant Major, we got about
You ready?
all right, let me close in with these guys. All right, come on, start rolling.
Close in with these goddamn killers.
Appreciate it, sir. All right. Appreciate it.
I just want to make sure I get a picture. Come on close, goddammit. Come on close up. I gotta get a picture with the killers, goddammit. Just to make sure the goddamn Taliban know they fuck with me. I'm gonna call these guys.
All right, here we go. Why you gotta do the prison pose, man? Everybody go do the prison pose. All right, let's go, Sergeant Major. We gotta get on the plane.
All right, safe again, thanks.
Unless you want to stay.
Okay.
Let's stay.
Watch your feet, cameraman. Watch your feet.
The last two FOBs we visited, we went to Capt Zerok, and the one that we are currently at right now is Capt Marga.
Can you spell this out, please?
Zerok is Z-E-R-O-K, and Marga is M-A-R-G-A-H.